Bosha, what is good, guys? It is your boy SoTeeko, and we are back on the block today for a brand new video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about lore, and the lore for one specific character. Today we're talking about Rey Skywalker. I know a lot of people don't like her. I enjoy the character. For me, she's not the main character of the sequel trilogy, but she's still a very cool character because I've read a bunch about her parents, I've read a bunch about where she comes from, and I'm really excited for the new movie just to see what the galaxy is looking like in the future. Now, I know there's a whole bunch of controversy surrounding the movie and a whole bunch of controversy surrounding things that were said by the director and how it's kind of dividing the fandom, but in my estimations and in my opinion, I really try not to worry about anything that's outside of the universe, outside of the galaxy, because I have no control over that. Nothing that I say will ever be taken into account by Lucasfilm. Therefore, I'm just going to focus on what I can focus on, and that is talking about some lore, talking about some Star Wars every Wednesday on the Archives podcast, and having a good time with you guys. So today we're going to be talking about some Rey lore and where we have a bunch of it from and not enough of it from. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. If you enjoy it, make sure to drop a like, hit that sub button from Death Star range. Now let's do this. So you guys saw my Loth cat hop up there, and now she's gonna, what a weird little cat, but we love her. So we start out in Shadows of the Sith. Very good novel. I implore you all to read it. It is essentially about the Sith, Ochi of Bestoon, tracking down Rey and her parents. Her parents are these very good, very nice people. The father is a strand cast of Palpatine. He's not a direct clone, but he's a strand cast, and he was the only one that lived. And because he was force sensitive, they said, oh, we'll keep him around in case we need his DNA or something. And he ended up leaving. And he's a really good guy. He's up front. And all he wants to do is protect his family. Rey's mother is another very cool character. She came from a humble farming planet where she was caring for her grandmother, and one day this gentleman showed up. They had lunch together and they fell in love, and they ended up having lunch together for a good amount of time, a good while, and then they fell in love. Had Rey was born on that farming planet, and then they had to run. They planted their roots in Jakku, where they were scavengers, and they did all that they could to stay alive, stay afloat. When the Sith just started coming and never ending. So they had to run. They had to flee. And for a while they fled. And it got to a point where their ship was just cooked. Like the hyperdrive didn't work anymore. Their ship was cooked, and they were faced with 3 bounty hunters. And they were about to die when the New Republic rolled in, well outside of the New Republic's, grand scope, and they were saved. Well, the New Republic, they brought them aboard one of their capital ships, and they did some inspections. They asked for identification, and it didn't go so well because the New Republic was very power hungry, very cocky at the time. And they were able to get help from one New Republic officer in particular, who gave them a tip to, hey, go see this guy. He owes me a favor. He'll help you out. So they go to that guy. Turns out that guy is a bigger scoundrel than Lando Calrissian. And the reason why I bring up Lando Calrissian is because the book is also focusing on his search, his sought after his daughter who was kidnapped by the Sith. And he wanted to know and he wanted to find her so badly that he took this news of this girl being kidnapped by this Ochi of Bestoon who he was sitting playing cards with at a bar. He took it as his personal mission and his call to action. And we get to learn a lot about Lando, and he's a really good guy. And who does Lando call to help him with this problem with the Sith? Luke Skywalker. Luke is in his own little arc, who is chasing after this ancient Sith relic, and eventually they come face to face with this ancient Sith, and it's a very, very emotional, monumental point in the book, because as Luke is facing this Sith, Ochi of Bestoon eventually catches the parents. And luckily they left Rey on Jakku in time to get away. Ochi of Bestoon slaughters the parents, but the parents were brave and they were courageous to their final moments, and it's just super unfortunate. It's super unfortunate what happened with them. Well, Ochi of Bestoon eventually, was looking for this girl and stumbled upon the planet that we see in Rise of Skywalker, and inevitably died because he was drunk on coolant and fell into the quicksand pit and could never get out. So that is the background knowledge of Rey that you wouldn't have. Rey's mother was an incredible pilot who inherited that from her grandmother. Rey's father was a very stubborn but upfront man. So you can kind of see character traits in Rey in these parents, which is a really cool thing. And I know it was more of a duct tape kind of book where they needed to tell some background stories, but if you really look at Star Wars, everything has been a background story that has came out. Nothing that has came out after the original 6 plus the latter 3 has not been a background story, right? So I get it, and I'm not trying to justify anything. I'm just putting it and making sense of it in my own head. So that's the background of Rey. That is Rey's background as far as we know. She was on Jakku for 13, 14 more years after that book. In that time, Luke was starting his temple. Not even starting. The temple was started in this book. You get some scenes in this book at Luke's temple, which is really cool. So I implore you all to check it out. The Shadow of the Sith is an incredible book, and I really enjoyed it. If I could give you guys a good reason to read it, you get a lot of background knowledge, not only on Rey, not only on Luke, not only on Lando, but also you learn a lot about the Sith and a lot about the galaxy at the time. And it's been monumental for me because I'm writing a book about Luke Skywalker. So I need all this information about Luke as possible. So Shadows of the Sith, I would say, is easy of 4.25 stars out of 5. Really good book, and I'd give it a go if I were you guys. It's on Audible, it's on Star Audio, it's on paperback, and I really enjoyed it. So that's it for the video. I hope you guys had a good time. I love you all. Peace, love, and life. Deuces, manuses. and have a good one.